Who is worst, Harry or Meghan Markle? Was Harry a contained problem for the royal family? Is Meghan a ticking bomb? Is she just starting to explode and bringing Harry along? What set Harry off completely from his family? That's something that we're going to explore right now, according to me, obviously. Thanks for coming, watching, subscribing. Thank you very much for listening. Please make sure that you're still subscribed. Many of you have complained that during the lives you can't comment because in spite of the fact that you're subscribed. But most of the times that means that YouTube unsubscribed you and you have to wait 5 minutes to give a comment when you're watching my lives. So that's what's happening for some of you, okay? And I have here Miss City. I have Miss City, who is slowly but surely recovering. I love you. I love you. Did you eat? Go on. Slowly but surely recovering, my baby girl. So, yes. I wanted to discuss this a little bit because I actually did a live with Sean Otwood. Not at Sean Otwood, but with Ron. I did an interview, which was going to be aired soon. And he was asking me how people are always talking that Harry, I think Matthew Steeples said that, you know, if Meghan were to dump his ass or if he were to be dumped by Meghan and then he comes back and goes to work in South Africa, he'll be forgiven. As though there is some sort of redemption for Harry. I kind of see why people think that. Because Buckingham Palace did such a fantastic job of selling a non-existing image of Harry. By accounts from even his bodyguards, he was never a nice guy. He was never a nice kid. Princess Diana took him on a bus tour or a bus trip, you know, so they would experience being normal, going on buses and stuff. And she had to get off because Harry was being racist against the bus driver who was from India. And he was mimicking derogatorily the bus driver. He was denigrating his hair, who he was, basically making fun of him to the point that Princess Diana, I think, smacked him and got off the bus. Okay? A lot of times we have to look at nature versus nurture and what part Meghan played in all of this. People, I believe, these are all my thoughts and opinions. I believe that people like Harry benefit from, Harry benefited from having a wealthy royal family, a privileged royal family, who had an amazing PR machine that covered up everything about him. Something that Ron said in that interview, he said, you know, Paula, just because he was privileged doesn't mean he didn't suffer. I agree. You know, at the time I thought, but then I agree, and it is much harder. It happened to me, actually. You know, when I would go to the police after I was beaten up, and the policeman, I was embarrassed because people didn't believe that given my circumstances, that our jobs, my ex-husband's job, where we lived, our lives, they couldn't believe, or they looked down upon it. It was harder to believe because it was such a privileged, background. So it was harder. Also, there was a lot of racism and xenophobia in Norway, whereas Harry never encountered that. This is why I don't think that he was, I'm trying to look for a correct word. I don't think he was victimized in any way, shape, or form by the royal family nor the media. In fact, the media, after Princess Diana's death, treated them with kids' gloves to the point that everything bad Harry did, still to this day, because people are still wishing he comes back to the fold, right? And we're going to get into why Meghan Markle is taking advantage of that wishful thinking, okay? Even people are thinking, oh, Harry's going to come back to the fold. People are willing to forgive anything and everything he says and does. Is that any good? I don't think so. But Harry was not victimized. After Princess Diana died, the Queen pretty much gave herself to Harry, making sure that he was fine, and to William, both of them. Both of them, for some reason, people forget that Prince William, who was 2 years older and closer to Princess Diana, suffered a greater loss than Harry. Because Harry was younger, selfish, self-absorbed, and not that close to his mother. Or not as close as Prince William. So, but for some reason, people neglect that. And they forget to see that as though Harry was an only child, and this is what happened to him in that environment. Forgetting that there is also another child that came out of the same environment. And it's completely the opposite of Harry. And we're going to explore whether it has to do with Catherine or it has to do with Meghan and what they both brought to the equation, if you would like to call it, to each relationship. Or whether it's something that each brother sought out. Because clearly William sought out a woman who improved him and bettered him and his relationships around. Whereas Harry brought a woman into his life that destroyed everything around him. And probably, I think that Meghan came to, Meghan came to give credit to his grievances and help him exploit his anger and those perceived grievances. And the only grievance that Harry has is that he's not the heir. That's it. He was well loved. He got away with a lot. He had access to therapists. He was allowed to get away with a lot of stuff. Everything that he did bad, it was covered up. He has never been held accountable to this day. He's still not held accountable. So, was he really a victim of the royal family? Is he right to lash out like this? Is he right? Is he justified to do this to his own family? Or is this just a wanker, a ginger wanker who has a chip on his shoulder because he doesn't have the top job? And who managed to find himself a woman who's willing to give him the tools to, if not get his goal of being getting the top job, trashing everything about the institution in order to ensure that the job no longer exists for anybody. Please leave me your comments. We seek our partners for what we think ourselves. I'll tell you, for me, for my instance, when I married my ex-husband, I thought he was a smart, kind, funny man. And I saw that he was not, at the time, not that I look back, I saw that he would see me carry, I was heavily pregnant with Hendrik, and he would see me carrying a bunch of bags, and he wouldn't get up to help, you know. The guard, we had a guard at the house, so the guard would help me out, you know, carry stuff. He wouldn't, I was heavily pregnant, it was really hard for me to drive, and we drive standard, we don't drive automatic, so it was harder for me, the roads were rough, and I would go buy this stuff because he wouldn't go out buy stuff. There was lots of things. I mean, now that I look back without that tinted rose, without those tinted road glasses, there were so many clues that I, you know, chose not to look at, or I thought, you know, I'm sure it'll get better when I get married. So when I say about Princess Diana thinking that things were going to get better when she got married, we all are guilty of that. So, but we seek something out in our partners. I thought because I didn't, you know, he presented an image of himself to me that I found out later on. As I said, we get to know people. You never know people, really. We get to know our partners or people through life, hopefully. Sometimes you're married to the person for 40, 50 years, and then you find out that they were criminals. And you're like, what? I didn't know any of that, you know. So, but with Harry, I think he was forewarned about who and what Meghan Markle was. Because you guys know that the royal family, all of them except the Queen and Prince Philip, had deep links, still do, to Soho House, to the owner of Soho House. Charles has only opened a club, you know, with the ribbon thing, and that one is the Soho House Club. That's the only one he's opened. He went to the one in Istanbul, I believe, where Meghan Markle was. Privately, of course. So Harry saw something in Meghan. He knew what it was. I don't believe he's telling the truth when he says that William told him to slow down or whatever. I'm pretty sure that he was told exactly who and what Meghan was about, and he didn't want to hear it. And he dug his heels even further because nobody tells Harry, just like nobody tells Charles, who to do. And because, the nature of Harry's, I believe his nature is, I get what I want when I want. And all his life he's been allowed to be entitled. And people have sorted out his messes for him. So I'm pretty sure that when he married Meghan, he thought whatever mess comes along, they're going to sort it out for us. They're going to handle this. And this is what Meghan Markle is counting on. The goodwill that people have. That expectancy that people have, that at any point in time, the door has to be open for Harry to return to the royal family. So people don't want to act too harshly and take straightforward actions. They're always leaving the door open for Harry and Meghan. And this is why Meghan exploits this. This is a weakness that not only the royal family has, but I find many people in the United Kingdom have. That they're still thinking that Harry is this decent guy who got caught up by this woman and who was tricked by this woman. And this is where I disagree with many of you. But what set Harry off? I actually did read his book, Spare. And there's one sentence that stuck with me. And even when you hear him speak it, he says that they begged Charles not to marry Camilla. I believe, this is my very personal opinion, that the fact that Charles lied to the public, he lied to the nation when he said he was never going to marry Camilla, when he knew he was going to do this. So this is a very much Harry and Meghan Markle move. This is where they get it from. We're going to say something in order to get what we want, and then I'm going to change the tune. Once I've gotten what I want, it's better to say sorry than to say, please, let me do it. It's better to, ask forgiveness than to ask permission. So basically, Charles lied to the United Kingdom, to Parliament, to everybody. And I do believe Harry when he says that Charles embarked in a 18-20-year campaign to rehabilitate Camilla's image rather than spending time and helping his kids. I get that. And I think that something, had Charles just remained, had kept Camilla as his mistress, I think that he would have been a much loved monarch. And he would have a much better relationship with his children. But he took it a step too far. It was not enough for him. Okay, your marriage fell. You threw your marriage away. You have wrecked the lives of your children. Your wife is dead as a consequence of this. Why don't you just have this woman as the mistress? Even the queen asked that. So, but no, Charles had to lie. And now, he took it a step further. He got her crowned. And not as queen consort, like the queen said, but queen. He wants people to call her queen, but nobody's calling her queen, only idiots. But I think that's when something in Harry shut off or went off. And I think he's been biding his time to get even. I really do. I really do think that Charles marrying Camilla was the spark that, slowly set up this flame, this bomb. Until he found somebody who was willing to go along with all his hatred, his resentment. And that was Meghan Markle. Now, much has been said about Chelsea, and Harry now he's changing his tune, saying that it was the queen, that the reason why the relationship with Chelsea didn't work was because the queen didn't like Chelsea. I'm pretty sure the Queen liked Chelsea more than she liked Meghan, and that didn't stop Harry. The difference is that the relationship didn't work out, not because of press intrusion or because of Her Majesty the Queen. It didn't work out because Chelsea didn't want to have anything to do with Harry. Chelsea knew about royal life after the first year. After the first few months, she could have said no the first year. She didn't have to hang around so many years. The reason why she hung around too many years is because she thought she was giving Harry an opportunity to change and grow, which he never did. And I don't think he can come to grips with that. And then Cressida Bonus, the same thing, except that Cressida didn't hang around for 6-8 years like Chelsea did. After a year and a half, she said, "I've had enough of you, Harry. Not enough of the royal life, not enough of the reporters, it's enough of Harry." And that is something that for a person like Harry, who has a huge ego, whose all his life has been told, has been also in a way the center of attention, the cheeky boy, he couldn't stand it. He can't stand it to the point that he's still suing the newspaper right now because he believes he wants to blame the newspapers for his breakup with Chelsea. I think Chelsea has come out and said that that wasn't the case. But you see. So where does Meghan come in all of this? As I said, Meghan is exploiting all of this, all of Harry's anger. If you ask me, they're yin yang. The only thing I believe that Harry regrets is that things haven't worked out the way he thought they would. Now, I've heard a very interesting report where it says that Meghan leaked to Dan Wootton through a friend the Mexit thing. This is why Dan Wootton was able to announce it first, because Meghan told one of her friends to contact Dan Wootton because the Mexit was not happening quick enough, and Harry didn't really want to do it. I can see that because I can see Harry having this cushy life, filled with privileges. I mean, Harry's not that stupid. He knew there'd be consequences. So this is why Meghan basically pushed a button. And then she went around and said to Harry, see, there's the press saying that we're leaving. This is why we have to leave. I mean, it's iconic. I mean, it is the worst possible gaslighting there is. Meghan leaking a story about them leaving and then telling Harry, turning around, saying to Harry, see, the press is doing this. That's why we have to leave. And the idiot goes along with it. Now, I know that, what's his name, Omid Scobie has come into trial, and now he's perjured himself again. Now, my take on all of this is, why are these people allowed to commit perjury in open court? Omid says that he worked as an intern or something like that for less than a week, and then he was told to listen to voicemails. And he remembers distinctly a conversation with Piers Morgan 20 or something, 30 years ago. And actually people take this seriously. And then we have him in the very same book and in other things that he's talked about in writing, how he was chummy with Harry, how Harry helped him with when he lost his passport, how he was having drinks with Harry and he was pouring his heart out to him. After, under oath, he went to court and said that he had never socialized with Harry. Why? Why are they allowed to continue lying? And I don't understand the judges. I don't understand the solicitors, the barristers, why they're not pumping this hard and asking the court to caution Omid and Harry for lying, for committing perjury, just like Meghan Markle got away with it. And this is setting a bad precedent that you can come to court. So this means that coming to court and testifying means nothing because people can lie and get away with it. No consequences happen. If you ask me, this is a perfect case when people actually should be held accountable for committing perjury in a court of law. Because then you know what? People are going to turn around and say, hey, wait a minute. I would. But where does Meghan come in all of this? Why has Meghan been so divisive? Why has Meghan... Because I firmly believe that even Harry didn't think this was going to turn out that badly. I just think he's surprised that for once in his life, his family are not cleaning up after him. And the reason for that is because he had never attacked any of the family. He has never gone after his own family. So now he's surprised. And this is what happened with abusive people. When, they push and push and push and they only escalate their behavior. Harry has been, in my very humble opinion, abusing and abusing people for a very long time. And nothing ever happened. And if anything, it was covered up. Him and Meghan were abusing their staff, allegedly. And nothing happened. Instead of that, it was covered up. And not only that, get this. The staff are the evil people for denouncing their bullying. How dare they, how dare they claim that they were abused by Harry and Meghan Markle. But what happened now is that Harry has escalated that abuse to his own family, to Charlotte, to Louis, to George, to his own brother. When you hear him narrate his book, you hear so much resentment. And here comes Meghan, a woman who is Meghan Markle is clearly a liar. He's a small-time D-list player who finds herself in the major leagues. But this little mouse, this little rat can cause a lot of problems, as she has done that. I truly believe this is just the beginning for her. She has managed to get her children, or whatever children she allegedly has, prince and princess titles of a foreign nation while being American. She is using a foreign title in American soil. Today, she's supposed to be getting I don't even know. I don't think it's an award. I just think it's another paid PR event, diploma, or whatever you want to call it, to fatten her resume, to build her up, this is a woman who has nothing. So she needs to get a lot of accolades in order, or trophies, in order for her to have something, even if it's false. And because her husband is part of the royal family, and because her husband still has the door open in the United Kingdom by his family and the country itself, people are treading lightly, and they're treating Meghan Markle as lightly as well. Because what if she goes back with Harry to the United Kingdom? There's always that possibility. And if they go back and they're welcomed by the fold, by the UK, and then we're going to look like assholes for treating them, the way they should be, for holding them accountable for their actions. So we have Gloria Steinem today giving Meghan a trophy for doing nothing. She's claiming to empower women. This is a woman who is a bully, who is an abuser. This is a woman who is a grenade. Everywhere she goes, she destroys everything around her and everybody along with it. But she finds herself, thanks to Harry, in this unique situation that she's allowed to do this and get away with it, which is worse. Just because people don't know if they're going to go back to the royal family, because the royal family has made it clear that there's always a door open for Harry, and if Meghan is still with him, the door is open for her. Which means that if Charles was able to get Camilla crowned, it's going to be much easier to get Meghan Markle accepted back into the fold. So this is who Meghan Markle is. Whereas Prince William sought a different partner. Somebody who was gentle, kind, classy, with values, with real family values, with a solid background. But that's someone that Prince William chose because those are his values. And he took his long time to find any flaws or see. He even put her, I do believe that he broke up with her to see how she would react, whether she'd go to the press blabbing, whether her family was going to sell stories or not. I think he did test them that way. And he found out that no, they didn't do any of those things. And instead, she was very loyal and loving. But that's just my opinion. So Harry chose Meghan Markle because she serves a purpose for him. He is allowed, they're both allowed to be as destructive, as false, as slanderous, as abusive as possible without any consequences, while fully knowing that they have a door open to go back into the most privileged families in the world with a lot of power, at least PR power. And this is why we have Meghan and Harry right now. This is why they go around smiling. I mean, those children that they went to see, those very white children that they went to see in Santa Barbara, were, in my very humble opinion, at risk. Did Harry recommend they do ayahuasca, marijuana, or any other forms of drugs, as though he's been saying and preaching to the people that they should have drugs? And Meghan Markle sitting there with a huge things of jewelry and Princess Diana's watch. It's not her watch. It's Princess Diana's watch. I've said this many times. Her watch, the one that she bought, although it was expensive, it was not the type Princess Diana had. Hers only cost like $5,000. It's silver and gold. Princess Diana is pure gold, and that's the one that she's wearing all the time, along with the pinky blood diamond. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that something went off in Harry when Charles married Camilla after he had promised them that he would never do that? Do you think that Charles' behavior and I'm going to get this done no matter what, I don't care what you say, set something off on Harry? How far do you think Meghan Markle is going to go with all of this? Do you think? I firmly believe that they're just getting started, and things are just going to escalate and get worse. Because you see, today Meghan is getting an accolade for empowering women while bullying them. What message does it send to this narcissist mind? I'm doing okay. There are no consequences from the royal family or the United Kingdom for her committing perjury and abusing staff, a bunch of staff, for lying, committing fraud. I mean, nothing. So what message does that send to Meghan Markle's head? That what she's doing is paying off, and she's not only going to continue doing it, she's going to escalate that behavior. When do you think the royal family will put a stop to it? Do you think that the door should be left open for Harry to come back? Do you think that those children, whatever children they may have, are in danger? Do you think that is wise that Harry and Meghan are teaching young, vulnerable children about mental health? I don't understand why there are no women going to protest Meghan Markle receiving an accolade for empowering women. I don't understand why people are not outside protesting it while she bullies every one of them. This is a woman who has no relationship with no side of the family. She has destroyed every side of the family. And she's so brutal that she's using Ashley, who's clearly an idiot, who didn't inherit any smarts from her mother, Samantha, to hurt her own disabled sister, who talks about forgiveness, burying her father worldwide while her father has 2 heart attacks and a stroke. This is how much of a psychopath he is. This is where the monarchies is relying upon. This is basically who Meghan Markle has, the monarchy in her hands, because she has learned that they dance to her tune. What do you guys think?